was a wild Tuesday in college baseball in general. So Wednesdays are typically the wild days. So who knows what we're in store for tonight? But probably the best midweek opponent Tennessee's going to see, at least early in this season. Xavier's played an absolute gauntlet of a schedule. Opened up in Arizona against a top 10 Oregon State team. They've played a series against Liberty. They played a series against Stanford this last weekend and took 2 of those 4. So Xavier comes in with a lot of upside and a team that expects to be in the postseason each and every year. So Tennessee's got their hands full here on a Wednesday.
The first of 5 games in a row for Xavier against SEC opponents. They go to Vanderbilt, not too far from here in Nashville, for a weekend set. Tennessee, they look to improve their unblemished record to start the season. They're tied for the 3rd best start in program history. They're going to go with the righty to start this midweek matchup. It's Thomas Crabtree making his Tennessee start debut.
Yeah, Thomas Crabtree, a Collierville native by way of Pearl River, very strong junior college, has had a couple appearances early in this season. It's a power righty. It's good breaking ball, sharp stuff. For him getting through this lineup that features a Luke Hammond for Xavier, it's his first game of the season, but preseason all Big East third baseman. They get him back today, and I know they're very excited about him.
Underway here at Knoxville. First pitch a strike for Thomas Crabtree. Jake Lambden, the spear of this Xavier lineup today, leads this team in average, 17 hits this season. We'll kick things off for a Musketeers lineup. Kind of mentioned they get some additions, but they also return a good chunk of guys from last year, a team that won 130 games, the 3rd straight year Xavier has done that, and they got a lot of firepower back from that team.
There's that over-the-top breaking ball from Crabtree on 0-2, just off the plate. First 2 fastballs have been at 92. Pretty good life on a chilly Wednesday, and especially with the wind kind of going against you. I think Lambden thought it might be a touchdown, but a pretty good frame there from Peebles, and yeah, that one's on the knees, and Lambden kind of knew it.
Lambden has been a tough out.
This play is ridiculous. With how the wind is swirling, you knew the ball was going to come back. He kind of hangs out, and see him slip there on the on-deck circle there at the end, but hangs onto the ball. That's a really good play. Gets the mask out of the way and goes over there and kind of hangs out till he figures out which way the ball's going to go, and ultimately makes that last stab to get the play or get the out.
The wind is absolutely howling today. It is gray. It was rainy earlier in Knoxville. Still maybe a chance for some sprinkles, but the wind is what's going to play a major factor here in this one. Blowing pretty heavy from right to left. It's even calmed down a bit from where it was right when we came on air. McCann and Peebles, no problem with that foul pop fly out.
No, we may even see it flip at some point during the game, but we know there's going to be massive gusts, and if it stays like it is now, it's going to be a much different outcome on a ball hit to left versus right. It's going to be tough to get one out to right if the wind holds like it is right now. Crabtree's stuff so far, though. 92 to 94, and that breaking ball has been sharp. Leaves that one upstairs just a bit.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Connor Mish in the 3 spot for Xavier, getting to start at first base. His first AB here in Knoxville. 3-2 coming up. Two up, 2 down so far from Crabtree here in the first frame, and misses inside for ball 4. First base runner for the Musketeers.
Mish walked number 12 on the season, so he's obviously had a good eye from that 3-hole and extends the inning here with 2 outs.
Yeah, Connor Mish reigning Big East Player of the Week. He will be the first base runner of this ball game and trying to set the table for Landon Minzik, freshman sitting in the cleanup role Had 4 hits and 16 at-bats over the weekend in 4 games for Xavier out west against Stanford. Mentioned Xavier has been all over the country. Played 4 games, got their money's worth, played more than a typical series against the Cardinal, and split 2 wins apiece for each team.
Minzik, you can tell he's got a good frame for a freshman. Slides into the 4-hole out of Mokina, Illinois, if that's the correct way to say it.
A couple of freshmen have made an early impact for the Xavier squad. Same for Tennessee. And the Volunteers off to a 12-0 start. Got 3 big wins over the weekend out in Houston. Playing at the Astros facility. Took down Oklahoma State, Rice, and Arizona to win that tournament weekend. Sharp foul ball from Minzik into his own dugout. And a 2-1 count now with Crabtree. Sat down the first 2. And then walks Connor Mish.
Tony Vitello yesterday in his postgame when talking about Xavier really kind of raved about the coaching staff and how they recruit.
Foul ball off the leg of Minzik for strike 2.
On a day like today, that's going to be even worse.
Never fun.
But Vitello was talking about kind of how these guys recruit like maniacs, and they've got guys from California, from New York. There's a lot of baseball talent in Ohio. Yeah. Most particular that comes to mind is Moeller. Is like a powerhouse out of Ohio, but they recruit nationally at Xavier, and that's why they always compete at a high level and develop guys well. And they're obviously not scared to schedule the type of schedule it takes to be ready to get his afternoon started.
And Schmidt, the right-hander, he's a senior. This is his first start with Xavier. He's made 5 outings out of the pen so far this season, 16 of them last year. But no starts as a Musketeer, had plenty of experience at St. John's River prior.
Yeah, he did have a sizable workload last year with, I think, 68 innings. And you can see the fastball at 92 has got some life to it. Numbers a bit inflated early this year. He's got a 12.46, but you know, one rough inning to start your year, and you just don't have enough time to kind of work that thing back down. So obviously one of the guys that they trust, and you can see the stuff early. He's plenty competitive.
Counts 1 and 2 to start with Gavin Keelan, SEC Player of the Week, National Player of the Week. Monster performances out in Houston. 9 of 15, 4 home runs. If you tally up the full week, he had 5 homers. Added 1 against North Alabama in the midweeks. Keelan barrels one up. Dead center right at the 390 mark. And caught by Anderson. But Keelan got all of that one on a line.
Yeah, that was an absolute laser. Just didn't get under it enough to carry it out.
2 quick outs for Tennessee here in the home half of the first, and that turns the page over for Hunter Ensley in the 3 spot. The veteran for this Tennessee team, 4 hits, 2 RBIs in Houston this past weekend, and made a fantastic catch last night up against the center field wall. Pretty much standard for Hunter Ensley these days.
It is, but it doesn't get old seeing it. I mean, he went in extremely hard last night, straight into the wall, and I said it last night, I'll say it again. It's amazing he holds on to the ball because he is going full speed. There is zero remorse for his own body. And in a Tuesday midweek when things have kind of been squirrely, it would make a lot of sense to a lot of people to pull up and play that ball off the wall. But he doesn't care. He's all ball straight into the wall, and it's just kind of who he is and why this is his team and he's the leader of it.
Yeah, no days off from Hunter Ensley. Weekend, midweek, you see full intensity, and that's just why he's become part of the definition of this Tennessee program of late. You see a lot of that in the lineup, top to bottom, but it starts with that veteran leader, and that's been Inslee.
100%. Logan Schmidt on the other side, though, has been working ahead of every hitter he's seen so far. Been able to land the slider for a strike, get a couple swings on it. Keelan's ball was smoked, though. You can tell a guy's locked in like that when everything's up the middle. Everything he hits is middle of the field. Timing's good. He's staying on the baseball.
A lot of barrels.
It was the same thing last night. Line drives up the middle. It was probably considered a bad night for him because he didn't hit a homer, but had a couple base knocks up the middle.
That's what happens when you start hitting multi-home run games. Normal good night becomes an average night. 3-2 count now for Inslee. He has battled back. Fouls off another.
Looked like Schmidt went right on right change there at 84. See the infield in the overshift. 3 guys to the left of second base.
Another full count pitch. That's in there. A lot of preseason hype for Isaac Waxman. D1 Baseball has him as the Big East preseason player of the year, and he now leads the team with 3 homers on the season. Next pitch, Jason Jellick. That's into the gap, and it's off the top of the wall. Jellick heading for second. Back-to-back extra base hits for Xavier.
So after a smooth inning and 2/3 from Crabtree, back-to-back pitches, he's found some barrel. Both balls in the middle of the plate and 2 really good swings from Waxman and Jellick. Really no chance for Vargo to go get that one.
Yeah, that one about a foot from also leaving the yard. Now Eddie Peters, another 2 out at bat here for Xavier. Back-to-back hits for extra bases with 2 outs. Right when it looked like Thomas Crabtree was grooving through the inning.
And so for back-to-back days now, Tennessee finds himself down early.
Yeah.
It was the first inning yesterday. Quickly responded to kind of punch back, but today here in the second, Xavier strikes first. It's a good breaking ball there.
Yeah, Radford offense certainly put some pressure on Tennessee in that Tuesday. This is a Xavier offense that put up 21 runs in 4 games against Stanford on the road. They have played one of the nation's toughest schedules up to this point. They've seen some of the best pitching across the country and will continue to do so.
Yeah, what's interesting for Walkman, who just hit the homer, he started really slow this year. Came in at like .089, but was one of their best hitters last year. .330, 10 homers. Came in with a lot of hype. Not sure where that one was.
Crabtree can't get out of the inning there, looking for strike 3.
But a swing like that early in your season can kind of turn the table a little bit. I mean, it tends to even out, and you don't know if he's hammered some balls right at people or whatnot, but you can see the athleticism and the strength, obviously, with the homer there. And yes, he did.
Check swing, pitch in the dirt, throw down to first. That's out number 3, so it's strikeout number 4 for Thomas Crabtree, but Xavier on the board. Isaac Waxman, second-ranked team in the nation. First by a lot of metrics overall in the nation. Tennessee Volunteers, again, off to an unblemished start to their season. Got a win yesterday over Radford. What's better than one midweek? A second. First time Tennessee playing 2 midweeks back-to-back. This one a expected to be one of the more competitive matchups Tennessee has on the midweek schedule. A Xavier team that preseason picked second in the Big East, a team that has won 30 games 3 straight years and went to a regional 2 years ago.
Yeah, and picked second behind UConn, who was in a super regional last year. And Tallahassee have been really strong the last few years.
Andrew Fischer sky high in foul territory. Play is made third base way. Luke Hammond has it. Out number 1. Logan Schmidt has faced 4 and sat 4 down.
Yeah, so here we are talking about how crazy the wind's going to be today, and it's not blowing quite as
slowed down.
That's the exact ball
where
I'm like, I got no clue what's going to happen. Hammond doesn't even scoff at that one.
No. First game,
first game.
Levi Clark wastes no time, shoots one out to right field. All he does is get hits. Leads this Tennessee team in average, sitting at 530 at-bats. He drops in Tennessee's first base hit.
Didn't feel like waiting around there. The old first pitch breaking ball. Stays on it just long enough. Kind of gets it off the cap, but Tennessee fans know how strong he is. He's able to get it over the second baseman and dump it in front of the right fielder.
3 hits for him last night against Radford. Picks right back up where he left off. Turns it over to Reese Chapman, who as well has been one of Tennessee's most consistent hitters this season. 16 hits and 41 at-bats, sitting at a 330 or 390 average.
Chapman last night, one of the Grand Slam culprits. Also had a double the other way.
It's pretty wild. You hit the first Grand Slam and you're not alone. You got 2 of your teammates after you do the same thing. They kind of upstage you by by doing it after. First time in Tennessee history they've hit 3 Grand Slams in a game. It ties an NCAA record.
It's insane, and they're 12 games in, and they're already halfway to the season-long NCAA record or close to it. So got to be on base to hit Grand Slams, but Tennessee gets on base a lot and has a lot of guys in the lineup with home run power.
7 Grand Slams in 12 games. You're on correct pace to break 14 Grand Slams. That's the record. Tennessee hit 12 last season. 2-2 count for Chapman. And he lays off.
And a lot of this last night as well. 3-2 seemed like every time. And when you're a hitter and you can lean on the pitcher, the longer you stay in there, the more pitches you see, generally the better your chances are to get a mistake or kind of figure out how the ball is coming out of their hand, see the spin a little bit better. It's just a lot of worked counts and a lot of pressure on pitchers, and then when they get the mistake, they didn't miss it.
3-2 foul tip into the mitt for out number 2. A huge get for Logan Schmidt.
Yeah, really good pitch there. Challenged him on 3-2. Able to keep it away. That probably just off the plate, but probably too close to take for Chapman. And above the hands, not able to catch up.
3rd strikeout for Schmidt today. Again, this is his first Xavier start here in his 2nd year with the Musketeers. Keeps Levi Clark stranded at first. Now 2nd out of the inning. Here's Cannon Peebles. He'll take a cut into the screen. Peebles hit a home run in Houston. That was his lone hit in 7 at-bats. They got all of that hit. Upper Deck out in Dyken Park now is what it's called, where the Astros will play their ball games this year. Now Peebles will have to battle. It's been an efficient first 2 innings so far for Logan Schmidt. Xavier got their 2 hits with 2 outs. Half inning ago. It's Peebles, third base way, almost able to sneak it down the line.
Yeah, Schmidt's really stayed away from these left-handed hitters. He's been able to locate on his arm side, which is away to these lefties, and been dropping in the breaking ball a lot on 0-1 to kind of steal that second strike and be 0-2. Then you got all kinds of options when you're 0-2. So he's done a good job of being ahead.
No balls, 2 strikes. Pitch in, Peebles in the air. Left center gap, Hendrickson. That's his ball. And he catches it through the wind. Third out in the second. Tennessee scoreless. They leave Levi Clark straight. Tennessee heads to the bullpen here in the top of the third. Thomas Crabtree got the start through 2 innings. Gave up 1 run, 2 hits. And now righty Austin Breedlove will take over. Junior, another newcomer for Tennessee from Cleveland State JUCO, will take over. Crabtree able to get 1. Rolls over first pitch he sees for out number 1.
Yeah, Breedlove, nice job coming in, getting first pitch out.
That has to be a good feeling, right? You come right in, 1 pitch, waste no time, 1 out on the board.
There's not a whole lot better as a pitcher. You really do want that. But Breedlove's been good the several times he's been in there. Kind of similar to Crabtree in a way. He's a righty with good life on his stuff. It'll be low 90s, sharp breaking ball.
Second pitch, Hendrickson in play. Pop fly over from second. Keelan, now 2 pitches, 2 outs. That's better than 1 pitch, 1 out.
That's even better.
It has been a dream start to the inning.
And now you must throw a strike. The hardest thing to do ever. 2 pitches, 2 outs, and you're just telling yourself, please, please swing.
Ever happened for you? 3 pitches, 3 outs?
No, there's no way Mish swings right here. You get an offensive timeout.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, let's slow this down.
Different coaches kind of have different philosophies after the 1 pitch, and I think Xavier being seemingly aggressive thus far today, you kind of figure, okay, 1 pitch, 1 out, you're likely to get a strike because the pitcher knows you may be taking one.
Yep.
So they go after it. Doesn't work out, obviously, and now you kind of have to swallow the pill and at least take 1. You can't do 3 pitches.
Well, Connor Mish was patient last time. He worked a walk. And he does take, but it is a strike. Really
good there.
Yep.
That's way easier said than done. Just throw a strike.
Is it harder because when you know a batter is likely going to take the pitch?
Yeah, it's kind of like preseason or whatever. If somebody's standing in but you know they're not swinging, it's different. It's almost harder to throw a strike. It's a mind game.
Yeah. Off speed in there. Strike 2. 1-2 start for Breedlove facing Mish.
It was a really good breaking ball. Buckled him a little bit.
On the ground, RL Antigua getting the start at shortstop, and he's so smooth in the field. Really quick 1-2-3 inning for Austin Breedlove. In Knoxville, Tennessee, Xavier, a classic midweek matchup in Knoxville. These teams have seen each other before in the midweek setting. And as mentioned, Xavier, wild first month of the season. They have played 20 games. They will play 20 games in 7 different states, 13 against Power 4 opponents. They've been to Arizona, they've been to California, they'll be in Tennessee here this entire week. Then they go to LSU for another midweek as if they hadn't had enough playing Tennessee and Vandy. Continue to add on to what has just been, it has to be the toughest schedule in the nation to start the season.
Non-conference wise, I don't think there's any debate. I mean, Ball State on March 21st will be their home opener.
Wow.
Life on the road.
Yep.
Start calling Xavier their rock band.
And none of them are relatively close to Cincinnati. This is not too far, right? I mean, about 3.5, 4 hours, 4.5.
Yeah, this week in Knoxville and Nashville is probably one of their closer proximity ones. But a lot of northern teams are kind of forced to do this. Maybe not to this extent, but certainly for the first few weeks, just have to go somewhere where they can play.
The goal, obviously, is that you hope it pays dividends come Big East play. And Xavier, for a reason, they've been one of the best teams in the Big East. As he faces the minimum 1, 2, 3. Defending national champions back at home for the second of 10 games. They host St. Bonaventure for 3 games over the weekend starting on Friday. St. Bonaventure is in Nashville playing Vanderbilt tonight. So Xavier and the Bonnies will flip-flop come Friday.
Going to cross paths in Crossville or Cookeville at some point, probably.
Stop at the same gas station. Take notes.
Yeah, both teams will, I imagine, make the trip. Maybe stay in their respective cities tonight and then drive over tomorrow for a Thursday practice and prep for the series. That's kind of interesting scheduling. I wonder if that was... Stay fair.
Gavin Keelan drops it in. All the way to the wall. Another double as Gavin Keelan continues to crush balls.
Yeah, my apologies there. I was talking to it. Had to make sure it listened, stay fair.
It did.
Keelan is some kind of locked in right now. I mean, he is a line drive fest all over the field. This one going the other way. Hit an opposite field homer in Houston. He's pretty much, there's not a whole lot of ways to get him out. And it's kind of the first trouble here for Schmidt, who's been cruising through 3. Now he faces the middle of the order, starting with Hunter Inslee and Keelan in scoring position.
The first time Tennessee's gotten a leadoff base runner in this game. Just the second hit there, first for extra bases. As Keelan is the tying run here in the bottom of the 4th. Hunter Inslee up the middle. The shift was on, so second baseman Lambden is there to make the play. Out number 1, it does advance Keelan 90 feet away.
Yeah, Inslee gets jammed a little bit. It was a slider, but kind of backed up on Schmidt there, and Hunter does his job, gets Keelan over to third, and now you've got multiple ways to score him. Looks like Xavier's going to play back. I'd rather trading out for a run here, especially with the 4-hole Andrew Fischer and the damage he can do. You don't want to make it any easier on him to get a hit and possibly put up a crooked number.
Andrew Fischer had a good midweek outing last night, had 2 home runs, one of which a grand slam. Anything deep here will tie this game. That's high, but not far enough, and it's in foul territory. Keelan will go to the bag anyways. Is it going to stay in the park?
Well, that's the first one we've seen cause some problems, and that you could tell by the way all 3 of them were running at it. They weren't real sure. So Fischer, new life.
Yeah. At first it seemed a bit shallow, a bit more shallow than it ended up being. It definitely got pushed out, and then more so to the left, so it's just strike 1.
So Fischer last night doubles his home run total early in the year and almost doubles his RBI total. He's at 294. That's off the plate. But a guy that Tennessee knows has hit at the highest level in the SEC. He was, I believe he was a freshman All-American at Duke his freshman year, so they know he's going to be a big piece of the lineup. And
muscles that one out of there. 5th home run of the season. And again, as you mentioned, 2 yesterday, doubled his total and now is added to that number once again. And the numbers weren't bad, but for his standard and compared to maybe the rest of that lineup, a slower start. But now starting to catch fire here in the midweeks.
Yeah, kind of just a start. Not a bad start, not an insane start. Fischer certainly one of those guys who can put up some big numbers and now has more than doubled his RBI and home run total in these two midweek games with several innings to go. And speaking of big starts, Levi Clark steps in.
You talk about, why, midweek games can make an impact. Performances like those, huge confidence boosters against a guy in Logan Schmidt who's been pretty lights out.
Absolutely, and you face good arms all the time at this level in baseball, but there's something a little different about a non-conference game, and maybe you get to see a few more pitches or just take a deep breath when you're in the box.
Two count for Levi Clark. Had a single back in the second. Was Tennessee's lone hit. First trip through the lineup.
But there's always those guys like Christian Moore who seem to hit better the bigger the stage, and seemed like SEC pitching was what he needed to hit his homers, so who knows.
Tennessee got their first taste of a regional type environment and maybe an SEC type weekend out in Houston. And 3-2's inside, ball 4. Levi Clark on base again. But you're really going to find out who's here to stay in the lineup when the Gators come into town and you throw that first pitch of SEC play.
No doubt, and you'll learn a lot, but 30 games kind of sounds like a decent bit, and it is. It's not a sprint. It's not a marathon. I'd say it's a solid body of work. So if you win all 3 against Florida or lose all 3 or somewhere in between, then you take that and try to take a step forward the next week, because Tennessee will head to Tuscaloosa, and it doesn't get any easier.
Nope. Alabama team off to a great start as well. Up into the top 25 now.
They have the baseball LeBron, Justin LeBron.
And he's been hitting the ball.
He is a stud. I like him a lot. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. These Tennessee fans are listening.
13-0 start for Alabama. Yeah, as a former VFL. It's very rare to say, right?
You can respect good players, even if they go to Alabama. Chapman, a big cut.
0-2 start for Chapman. He had a grand slam last night, and it at times last season where maybe you'd see the swing become undisciplined on maybe a breaking ball pitch like that. He stayed through and kind of golfed one out.
Yeah, really stayed in his legs and kind of got down there with it, if you will. And the baseball phrase is keep your nose on it, and he certainly did that. But really, you just get the barrel to it, and was able to backspin a low pitch. It was a changeup down and in.
That is strike 3 called as Chapman caught looking on the fastball. That's his second strikeout.
Yeah, I thought that one was there, but home plate umpire Brian DeBrouwer kind of a little flinch there. He was at third base last night, so working back-to-back games. I think the rest of the umpiring crew is different, with Rusty Griffin at first, John White at second, Kevin Elzy at third.
Good bounce-back punch-out for Schmidt following the home run and the walk. Previous 2 hitters, and now Cannon Peebles, who's 0 for 1. Tennessee took the lead here in the bottom of the 4th. 2-run homer for Andrew Fischer.
Are you a fan of the ABS system, the challenge system that's new in spring training this year?
I am a fan of it. And I think where you're going to start figuring it out is when you use it and how you use it the right way, and then how do we not waste time?
Yeah, as long as it's quick, I'm good with it. I think.
And you feel like you will. Pace of play obviously has been a big topic for both pros and the collegiate level. People's not having to swing on the 3-0, but there are parts of it, and you might feel differently as a pitcher. You feel like just the human error is a factor of the game. Balls and strikes they're going to differ every game.
It is, and there's human error in every sport. But if you can make the sport a little bit better and not completely disrupt the flow of the game, then I'm for it. And I kind of like how if you get it right, you get to keep it and keep using it, and when you get it wrong, you're done. So
it's another little game within the game.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes to trickle down, because usually when something happens in the majors, it'll be in the college game eventually as Peebles works a 2-out walk.
Second walk of the inning for Schmidt. Clark able to advance into scoring position.
Yeah, Schmidt up to 68 pitches here through 2 3/3. This is a big at-bat for both teams in this one, even though it's still relatively early.
Bargo 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Did not play last night against Radford. Had a couple of ABs out at Houston. 4 hits and 24 ABs. He's got good power in his swing. 3 homers on the year. 3 of those 4 hits have left the building. We saw Schmidt work ahead mostly through that first time through the order, but now he's starting to fall behind.
Yeah, they're starting to lean on him a little bit, and you talk about Bargo, it's a guy that, one of those guys can hit that SEC pitching. Off to a slow start this year, but a veteran approach will certainly play some sort of factor in the lineup. Whether it's a DH, a pinch hit, he can play left, he can play first. Team guy, everybody in the locker room loves him. So he's just one of those guys you want on your team, and will certainly fit in somewhere. To what capacity is still to be determined.
4-pitch walk to Dalton Bargo, and a familiar sight for Tennessee. Bases loaded here in the bottom of the 4th.
And since the Fischer homer, none of these base runners have reached via a base hit. It's been 3 walks, and that's the recipe that you kind of want to avoid.
Yeah, but that's back-to-back walks with 2 outs. Now Jellick with the catcher's gear on, going to make the walk to the mound. Likely some activity out in the Xavier bullpen, which is hidden from our vantage point. Already 1 mound visit. Again, just 1 more out needed. It was a scoreless first 3 innings for Logan Schmidt. He had 5 strikeouts. He added a 6th this inning. And now he's dealing with the 9-hole hitter. You think, let's let him attack this 9-hole hitter, Ariel Antigua 0 for 1, and then if we get him out, head to the bullpen in the 5th, but back to the top of the order, likely going to see a change.
Yeah, I think this is probably his last hitter.
You surprised that?
Nope, maybe not.
Yeah, I was about to say, you surprised he will even face Antigua. Maybe just some time, let the bullpen continue getting loose. 72 pitches for Logan Schmidt. And now Xavier to the bullpen here in the bottom of the 4th. Bases are loaded. It's a 1-run game. Huge spot. Musketeers will change hands. Xavier to the bullpen. Bases are loaded. And they go to the righty, Ben Weber, junior Minnesota native. Will step in a massive spot. He'll try to keep things at a 1-run ball game with 2 outs. He's got Ariel Antigua 9-hole hitter in this Tennessee lineup. First pitch swinging, a roller to first, and that's the inning. Ben Weber gets out of the jam. Tennessee works with the lead now as we move on to the 5th inning of action. An Andrew Fischer home run, the difference-making swing. Xavier hit a solo home run at the top of the 7th. It was Isaac Walksman gave the Musketeers the early lead. But since then, Austin Breedlove has been shut down on the mound. 2 really steady innings. Tennessee has to like what they've been seeing out of Breedlove.
He's been in attack mode since he came in. It's pretty much been exclusively fastball, over the top breaking ball, but it's been good.
He will face Walksman, who had that home run his last at-bat in the 2nd inning, a solo homer. It was Xavier's first hit of the game and first run entirely of this ball game. Two, one. Walksman goes chasing. That's going to be strike 3. That was a 2-2 pitch. And out number 1. 3rd strikeout today for Breedlove.
Buries this one and gets the chase on 2-2, like you mentioned. Breedlove continuing the good work. When you get ahead, you got a chance to get a chase like that.
7, 8, 9 due up for Xavier as they are facing their first deficit of the night. Jason Jellick, he doubled following that Walksman home run back in the 2nd. Almost hit a home run himself. 257 hitter on the season. And Tony Vitello mentioned yesterday that a credit to Radford threw off Tennessee's pitching plan for today after really going at some of the Tennessee arms yesterday. No A.J. Russell is what Tony Vitello said, who pitched the midweeks last week. Threw Dylan Loy at the end of yesterday's game, so somewhat of a question mark going in to this matchup.
A little bit, which is kind of the beauty of your first 5-game week, your first Wednesday matchup. You got guys like Austin Breedlove who get a little bit of extended work. And to this point has taken full advantage of it. But You're right about Radford. It wasn't a power display or anything like that, but they put the bat on the ball, they ran on the base paths, they executed, and they were. It's that one. 3-2. Tries to go. Jellick tries to get him to chase with the same pitch he was able to get Walksman out on, but Jellick a good job to lay off there on 3-2.
Second walk from Tennessee pitchers here today is first for Breedlove. That's the first base runner that Austin Breedlove has allowed. He went 1, 2, 3 in the 3rd and 4th.
So Radford puts up a couple crooked numbers, and all of a sudden Tennessee brings in trusted weekend arm Dylan Loy to ensure they kind of tighten that game up, and he really settles things down. I mean, he was phenomenal last night, and then Tennessee obviously explodes in the 7th with the 12-run inning.
Peters in the air, run over from right field, plays made from Chapman, and the wind was really pushing that one back in. Out number 2.
Yeah, he kind of pulled up like he was in position, and then he was like, "Oh goodness, this one's running away from me now." He's able to make the running catch. The Tennessee explodes in the 7th, but at that point you had already probably burned more than you would have liked coming in on Tuesday, knowing that you had a competitive Xavier game today. So it'll be interesting to see where they go after Breedlove, because certainly the depth in the bullpen on this Tennessee staff, there's talent across the board, no doubt, but you've kind of got some options in terms of what you want to go late in games. also knowing you're a day closer to the weekend series.
Yesterday was classic midweek written all over it. Early lead for a Radford team on the road. A couple of errors, a couple of pitching changes, a lot of different looks. And then the run rule came into play with the 11-run 7th inning. Never a doubt. That's what that Tennessee offense could do to you late in games. Certainly stretched thin the Radford pitching staff. And Xavier certainly got a good start to this one with Logan Schmidt pitching 3 2/3. Jake Lambden fouls one off. 1-2 count. Back to the top of the order for Xavier. Lambden 0 for 2. Team leader in average this season. 17 hits, 395 hitter. A chance to do some damage here with the tying run on first. 2 outs.
Yeah, true leadoff. Over 500 on base, and of those 17 hits, 17 singles.
Yep.
So, not exactly a slugging percentage guy per se, but puts the bat on the ball. Seems like a lot of line drives. Runs well.
Yeah, 12 walks and just 8 strikeouts as well. 471 hitter with 2 outs, so prime situation for him here. That 2-2 swung on to left field, flying around everywhere as Bargo settles underneath. Out number 3. Xavier strands a base runner at first. It's 3 solid scoreless innings for Austin Breedlove. Top of the order due up for Tennessee here in the home half of the 5th. 2-1 margin. Volunteers got 2 in the 4th. As Gavin Keelan did damage like he's been doing all season long. Got a double, then Andrew Fischer homered him in. That is the difference up to this point. So Curley, Keelan, and Ensley due up in the 5th with Ben Weber, who came in super relief with the bases loaded and got 1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah, didn't even have time to really introduce the young man. A transfer from Air Force in 2023. Made 5 starts for the Lightning. Is that what Air Force is? I believe so.
Falcons?
Falcons, that's right.
But they've got lightning in the logo.
They do. I should have known that, though. My apologies to the Air Force.
Curley hasn't put the bat on the ball yet, and he's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. I'll try to get things rolling with Weber on the bump.
Weber coming in tonight had already thrown 14 2/3 innings, which is a ton at this point in the year.
Yeah, 4.91 ERA.
And 3 decisions.
And he gets Curley swinging, strike 3. So the 3rd time Curley has a K in the column, and Weber, 2 batters face, 2 outs.
Yeah, Curley never really picked that one up. It was well below the zone and had him fooled right there.
Now one of the hottest hitters in the nation back in, Gavin Keelan. As he crushed one dead center his first at-bat, just ran out of steam, didn't hit it high and far enough, just short of the wall. He got a double last AB and a chopper up the middle. Another base hit for Gavin Keelan. He's 2 for 3. And that average now up to 500.
When it's going good, it's going good. Kind of seeing eye there, but that's the trade-off. In the first inning, you smoke one to center and get out. So The game kind of gets him back there. It all evens out eventually. Or supposedly it does, but they had the shift on, but not the overshift. So they still had two defenders on the left side of second base, and Keelan able to kind of play with that bigger middle of the field.
That pitch will bounce away. Keelan now to second. RBI chance now for Hunter Ensley, 0 for 2.
Huge right side of the field here for Hunter to work with.
Ensley had a big RBI last night's game, and it was right down that line in left field. Doesn't typically hit it opposite way, but he's shown that before.
He will, not typically on the ground, but a line drive. If he gets his swing right, he will.
Third base way, a bit out in front.
But Xavier is certainly convinced on the reporting that they have that it's worth their while to do the shift. And another thing that will eventually probably be in the college game as well is you can't have more than two on either side of second base, which at college you're still allowed to do. As you see the shortstop kind of playing, or the second baseman kind of playing directly behind the bag, but a step or two on the shortstop side.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of rule changes start at the minor league levels, get implemented at the pro level, and then college adapting those, the pitch clock being one. That ball is going to skip away, and now Keelan to third. Sacrifice flying option now for Ensley. Pitches now has set Keelan up 90 feet away.
And the infield will be in a one-run game.
3-2 pitch. Outside, ball four. Runners on the corners for Tennessee. Yeah, with the way this game has gone pace-wise, runs have obviously been at a premium. Not a lot of runners left on base. 6 hits from these teams combined, so Tennessee trying to capitalize, Xavier trying to prevent. Especially there on that 3-2 pitch. Linefield backs up to start for Andrew Fischer. Double play ball in effect.
Yeah, they'll play for that. As mentioned in his last at-bat before he hit it over the wall, they don't want to make it any easier on Andrew Fischer to punch one through the infield with now two guys on.
Now Fischer got Tennessee on the board and gave them the lead where it stands. Happened just an inning ago. 2-run homer. It brought in Gavin Keelan. His third in 2 midweek games this week. Another big cut. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And now 3 straight games with a homer.
Yep.
Going back to Sunday in Houston against Arizona. The Wildcats. See, I know my mascots.
We'll keep quizzing you throughout the day. Fischer went chasing for that one, and that is strike 3. And a really good get for Weber following the walk.
Yeah, completely fooled here. Goes change up. Maybe a slider kind of backdoor, and I think Fischer had kind of made up his mind before that one even was released that he was swinging, because that was obviously not his best wave.
Sacrifice is out of the equation now, but still another challenge with Levi Clark. Xavier has yet to sit him down. Single in the second, and then he walked in the fourth. Gavin Keelan has to be thinking, what do I got to do to be the team's leading average? Levi Clark still has it. 5-16. Continues to add here in the midweeks.
Pressure like he did the last time we saw a play at the plate with him, but able to slide in nonetheless and make it a 4-1 game.
2-out double for Clark. Here's Chapman to right field. The wind knocking it down, but what a play from Lambden from second. Might have stolen another run for Tennessee. That's going to end the fifth. Levi Clark. Live here in Knoxville, Tennessee, they've added to their advantage 4 runs to 1. Volunteers and Musketeers. The talented freshman Tegan Coons emerges from the bullpen. Got the start on Sunday for Tennessee in Houston against Arizona. That was outing number 2 of his freshman career, and he pitched 2 pretty solid innings.
He did. Gave up 1 run, but looked really sharp against a very formidable Arizona lineup, and ball was coming out of his hand extremely well.
Hendrickson ropes one left field. That's back and off the wall. A loud greeting to this game as it's a leadoff double for Carter Hendrickson.
Yeah, another 0-1 breaking ball that kind of stays over the plate, and similar to the swing that Waxman had on Crabtree earlier in the game. Same count, kind of same pitch. This one stays in the yard. It's a little more in the gap, but Xavier, something cooking here in the 6th.
Heart of this Musketeer order, Connor Mish back in. Earned a walk back in the first and a ground out in the 3rd. Yeah, Coons 2 innings against Arizona, a team that looked really sharp as well in Houston and got a win over Texas A&M. Gave up 2 hits, 1 run, and 3 strikeouts, no walks.
Got a pitch comm issue here. It's weird to see time called that late from Peebles, but I guess he certainly doesn't want to have a pitch coming at him when he's not sure what it's going to be.
Nope.
But just kind of that late, I guess something cued him to where he thought maybe they weren't on the same page.
And now Coons runs a fastball inside and hits Mitch. So now 2 aboard to start the inning.
Now batting number 6, Landon Tennesee.
3 pitches from Coons and already 2 base runners. Not the start maybe he was looking for out of the pen here in the 6th. Lead runner is going, and now Mensick is hit. Back-to-back pitches, both fastballs up and in.
So the first 2 are for strikes. Second one being put in play, obviously, but then just 2 in a row get away from him. Just completely sails it.
It's a very talented freshman in Coons. Expectation is that he's going to be pitching on the weekends. Dealt with some sickness first week and a half to 2 weeks of the season, and then got his first weekend experience on Sunday. And was not out of control in either of those first 2 outings. But 3 batters face now, 3 base runners. He's immediately going to have to deal with bases loaded.
No doubt, and a good opportunity if you're thinking long-term for Tegan Coons to face a little adversity and kind of see how he responds here. But it's kind of the highs and the lows of a really talented freshman. When it's good, it's really good, and then there can be some learning moments as well. But like you said, it's a guy that is going to be pitching on the weekends for this Tennessee staff. They're just trying to get him back in, kind of back in the swing of things and built up. I don't know that It's a little surprising to see him in this spot, given he started on Sunday, but
we will see how the freshman handles the bases loaded jam with no outs. Aiden Anderson is in. 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts today.
that one just off.
Chance for Xavier to respond. It's 4 unanswered runs for Tennessee. Home run type cut there. Coons gets strike 2. Aiden Anderson, 18 home runs a season ago. A lot of power in that bat. That 2-2 is in there. Strike 3.
Yeah, you could tell Anderson wasn't picking up the fastball. Absolutely no reason to go anything else right there. As we mentioned, opportunity to bounce back certainly does that. Not out of the woods yet, but gets the first out. Now has to face the preseason All Big East member Luke Hammond in his first game.
Big spot, first game, but already having to hit in some big moments. Bases loaded, down 3 runs, 1 out. As Coons now trying to settle in after the punch out. And he just misses there, 1-1 start.
Yeah, that one I thought was a strike. Caught the outside there, but the only opinion that matters disagrees. Much more conviction with these last few fastballs, though. It's coming out of the hand of Tegan Coons. Much more like we were used to seeing as he blows another one by, and it's been nothing but fastballs since kind of the middle of that Aiden Anderson at bat. And it's 92 to 94, and on a cold night like this, it probably looks even harder than that in the box, and it's got some giddy up behind it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Coons, another strikeout. He loads the bases and then sits 2 down back to back.
Not out of the woods yet, but channeling his inner Liam Doyle, just pouring fastball after fastball.
Now batting number 7, Isaac Walksman.
And since hitting those 2 guys has really stayed behind it. We're going to get another offensive timeout from Xavier.
And he's going to bring all 3 of his base runners in.
Second one of the game. First one was you had the 2 pitches, 2 outs, trying to stop a little momentum or give your pitcher who's sitting in the dugout at least a time to get a drink of water before he's got to run back out there. But this one, you load the bases in what seemed like a blink.
Yep.
And then Tegan Coons flips the switch and strikes 2 out in what feels like a blink. I think he's talking to the gang on the bases and the hitter Walksman, who's got a homer tonight. Hey,
yep.
We still got a chance to do something this inning. Here's what we're going to do.
It has been 2 very different innings, it feels like, for Tegan Coons. And this certainly, you could tell, means a lot. The Musketeers just trying to get Coons out of rhythm.
Peebles with a subtle signal to the dugout. Hey, that one was outside.
Walksman a swing and a miss on a fastball that was likely ball 2.
There's some carry on that thing tonight, though. That one probably looked like it was going to be belt high until the very end.
Another swing through a fastball for Walksman, and now Coons a strike away from getting out of the jam.
What do you think he's throwing here, Andy?
It's been fastball, fastball, fastball. 1-2. Roped foul. 94 on that one from Coons.
Isaac Walksman was thinking the same thing that everybody in the stadium, in the dugouts, and at home were thinking. Fastball. So now what do you do? You've thrown like 12 straight.
1-2. Another fastball. It's in the air. Fischer keeling over. Keelan's got it. Electric stuff from Tegan Coons. Works out of the bases loaded jam. Open for Xavier. Sam Stevens, a right-hander, will take over now in the home half of the 6th inning. Tennessee offensively, 4 unanswered runs. They've had 2 apiece their last 2 trips to the box. It'll be 7, 8, 9 to start this inning. Stevens, just a freshman from Austin, Texas. We get his first stab at number 2 team in the nation, number 1 by a lot of metrics. Swing and a miss from Cannon Peoples.
Yeah, interesting. Stevens going to Ohio from the Lone Star State. We mentioned they recruit like crazy over there, and able to go grab a talent from Texas certainly speaks to that. Stevens, a good-looking righty at 6'3", about 180. He'll probably fill out as he gets more into the weight room. He's upper 80s at this point. See a changeup and a breaking ball in the arsenal.
First outing of his career with Xavier. Saw Ben Weber, who threw 14 innings last frame, and now a debut here for Sam Stevens, and it starts off strong, a strikeout.
Yeah, I thought this one was off. There were a couple last inning that Tegan Coons on the opposite side of the plate wasn't able to get. Certainly seems like for the lefties, there's a little bit more given off the plate on that side.
Peebles will go down looking. It's out number 1 of the inning. Dalton Bargo trying to beat the shift. Crafty down the line, but it goes foul. Now you see mixed results with that when you see the heavy shift. You know, why not just bunt it down the line? Well, it's easier said than done, getting the bunt down.
It is, and it's a little bit easier when they're all the way over. Kind of playing where the second base umpire is right now. If the third baseman is playing there, you've kind of got the whole left side to work with. But Bargo didn't have a whole lot to work with. Tried to almost threaded the needle there. He hit it on the barrel though. It had some steam going. It still had some pace passing the base.
It would have made the outfield if fair.
There's been some bunt doubles in Major League history on some shifts.
Whatever it takes. Bargo will have to battle back now. 1-2 count. Struck out in the second and then walked in the third. 1-2 pitch. Bargo lays off.
Sam Stevens threw a perfect game in high school.
Wow.
And deservingly earned Pitcher of the Week for...
Say so. If he hadn't, then we would have maybe had some problems.
Would have asked who did what.
2 perfect games in one day.
Yeah. The same guy hit all 3 grand slams for a different team. Pretty tough to do in 7 innings, though, high school games.
Well, you saw the perfect game out in Portland last week in the midweeks. That just goes to show anything can happen in midweek baseball.
Show up to the park, you never know what you're going to see. You can watch this game for 50 years and you always see something new every time you come. Like a guy hitting 2 straight batters with fastballs and then striking out 2 straight with fastballs, seemingly like a light switch was flipped.
It's a beautiful game, and midweeks always draw out some of those fun scenarios.
It is, but kind of shows a little bit of an advanced approach from Teagan, able to feel mechanically, hey, what went wrong there, and then make that quick adjustment and get right back in it. And really looked like he was staying behind it and allowed his hand to be on time for release. And what an at bat there from Bargo. That felt long.
Yeah, it was down 0-2 after he tried to sneak a bunt and then worked to walk.
Couple foul balls.
Yep.
Couple good takes.
His night will be done. Jay Abernathy's on. Abernathy did not play yesterday against Radford. Didn't get the start today, but he started all 3 over the weekend in Houston, and he's got great speed. Leadoff man on now with 1 out. Chance to run.
Yeah, Abernathy does a lot of things really well. Played left field most of the weekend. Was hitting in the 9-hole, but did a good job of kind of creating some chaos, getting on base and doing some different things.
Check back at first, and they almost got him. Barely back in time. Abernathy a threat to run. He's got 5 stolen bases. Has not been caught once. Ariel Antigua in. Another check back at first. He's getting a healthy lead. They're going to say balk. Abernathy to second.
Yeah, it's kind of a subjective call there, but home plate umpire Brian DeBauer calls it right away. He called it the balk move, where he kind of twitches that front knee first, and if you do it quick enough and subtle enough, you can get away with it. Obviously too deliberate there. Head coach Billy O'Connor doesn't agree, doesn't like it, but that one a little too much and gets tagged for the balk.
Beneficial for Tennessee there. Abernathy certainly, you can't relax on him. He can steal third too.
Well, I was just about to say, I think we might see some action here with Antigua, who can handle the bat, and Abernathy, who runs well, to see if they go with a straight steal or a hit and run or something, but that's a mute point now with the balk being called.
Yeah. Antigua swinging away. He fouls one of back to the catcher.
Could
start.
Could still see the straight steal at some point.
Abernathy leads his Tennessee team, 5 stolen bases. Great option to have as a pinch runner on nights where he doesn't start. Off speed, Antigua is upstairs.
Yes, Stevens seemed to have been a little bit more comfortable with the changeup versus the breaking ball to this point. But he certainly went with against Bargo. Made a couple of good ones, but that breaking ball stays up on him.
Antigua fouls one away. Antigua's 0 for 2. He had that bases loaded situation last time up, and first pitch went hunting. Rolled one over right to first. Another RBI chance for him with 1 down. Another look at Abernathy. You have to be careful. And there's an appeal that Abernathy came off the bag. Not granted. Second base umpire John White says we're good.
Lambden got a flinch out of
Yeah.
it. He didn't come off the bag, but he got a flinch. Little gamesmanship there.
Yep.
Act like the ball went into center field. And
Antigua lays off ball 2. Yeah, Abernathy fresh to the game. You see him kind of blowing some warm air into his fist. It is cold. Temperatures dropping throughout this one.
savvy veteran move. I always think of the Todd Helton one at first base.
That 2-2 flashed out to center. That's dropping, and it's in. Base hit for Antigua. Abernathy rounding third. Throw home. Not in time. The speed. He's too quick. Tennessee gets an RBI from Antigua.
Yeah, gets jammed on this one, but is able to lift it over the shortstop, or second baseman playing where the up the middle shortstop would be. And Lambden kind of gives another deke like he's going to catch it, but at that point Jay had already committed and knew it was down, and happy to push the envelope a little bit when you know you've got Abernathy running, and would have taken a perfect throw to get him slightly up the line. Vols get an insurance run.
Flips things back to the top of the order. Dean Curley in. And it has not been Curley's night so far. 0 for 3 with a trio of strikeouts. He came into this game with only 6 strikeouts on the year.
He's taken a lot of heaters, kind of right in the hitting zone. Just hasn't been comfortable in there all night. And on nights like this, you feel like you walk up to the plate and it's already 0-2, and he certainly has been that way for Dean. Gonna take a timeout and get some sticky stuff. He hasn't swung, so I'd imagine just trying to slow things down a little bit. But you talked about what the midweeks can do for somebody like Andrew Fischer, kind of help him break out a little bit. And for Dean, you want to hit well, but at the end of the day, you know Dean Curley's going to be more than just fine. And so it stinks and it's frustrating, but it's also not panic button time for him.
Nope, still hit a leadoff home run yesterday.
Yeah. There were some ugly midweek games for Christian Moore and Blake Burke last year, I can remember. It's not that you don't care, but you don't cut it off. You give up the extra 90, and now a single scores him.
Third straight inning, this Tennessee offense. They have plated a pair. Still just one out, and now Gavin Keelan. This one heading deep. Right field at the wall. Knocked down, but it's still going to drop in for a hit. Keelan has extra bases once again. Curley to third. Any other day, that thing is gone. Keelan's going to have to live with a double.
Yeah, he hits this well, probably good enough to get it out. And he hits it directly against the wind, which is rolling pretty good right now. You can see in the background there, it's just directly against the wind, and it just kind of puts a parachute on it. And Mancik out in right field isn't having any more fun with it.
No, it's not fun for both parties.
Than Keelan, who's wanting to take a jog. He'll settle for a double, though.
And Keelan has been otherworldly. Just everything he has seen has been barreled up. Even his one out was almost a dead center home run. Yeah, the wind is at its peak too. If maybe he had that swing an hour ago, he's looking at a home run. But the wind is flying.
Ooh, good change up there from Stevens.
Yeah, Stevens just looking for round number 2 here. 3 hits, all consecutively. Tennessee starting to pull away. A chance for more damage with Hunter Inslee in. Inslee 0 for 2, strikeout ground out. He walked an inning ago. Three balls, one strike. First base is open, but Andrew Fischer on deck. Already one home run today. Three-one. Inslee in the air, left field. Wind carrying it back at the wall, and the play is made from Hendrickson. Tagging up from third, Curley. Keelan gets to third base. It's another run for Tennessee. Sacrifice fly from Inslee.
I thought this one had a chance to carry out. He got it pretty good, but just under it. Wind does carry it all the way to the track. So plenty deep enough to score Curley, and Keelan's even able to tag on a ball to left field, which you don't see a lot, tagging from second to third.
Three-run inning for Tennessee now here in the sixth. Now Andrew Fischer in, no one holding Keelan on at third. He's just kind of standing midway from home to third. 2-0 start for Fischer.
Yeah, with Hammond all the way in the sixth hole, it's kind of, as long as you can beat the pitcher Stevens in a foot race back to the bag, he might even be closer. Hammond does take a step.
Fischer hasn't had to swing yet. 3 pitches, 3 out of the zone.
I would guess 3-0 green light. Saw it last night with Fischer, and if this one's there, he's coming unglued.
Ball 4. Andrew Fischer is aboard here with 2 outs. It's been a tough inning for Sam Stevens. Got 2 outs the inning, his debut. 3 hits allowed, and a strikeout to start. But Tennessee, they've been dangerous. He had to face the heart of the order. One of the hottest hitters in the nation, and Gavin Keelan doing some damage. So Xavier changing hands in the bottom of the 6th. They trail by 6 runs. Xavier goes from one freshman to the next. Right-handed pitcher John Wiley is on, Ohio native. And he will take over with 1 out needed here in the 6th inning. Already 3 runs home for Tennessee.
Yeah, Wiley from Ironton High School. Played for his dad in Ironton, making his 3rd appearance in college. Went an inning and 2/3 scoreless against Stanford.
He will get Levi Clark right away. Runners on the corners as Andrew Fischer earned a walk. Gavin Keelan 90 feet away. Clark opposite way. The wind, of course, going to knock it down. It's back towards the pole and foul. Clark is 2 for 2, a single and a double, brought in 2 an inning ago. Seven-run inning here in the 6th. It has just been a hit parade. They have batted through the order. Cannon Peebles is back up. He was the first to stand in here in the 6th. That just shows you how fast this Tennessee offense can strike. Now Peebles off the handle. Shallow center. Play made. Out number 3. Tennessee explodes here in the 6th. Offense putting up numbers. It is now 11 unanswered. Coons had an eventful inning for Tennessee, but he's going to turn the ball over to Braden Sharp as we kick off the 7th inning. Sharp, a redshirt freshman. This is outing number 4. He's a two-way guy, but going to see more time out on the mound. And he got a chance to throw on the weekend in Houston, an inning and a third against Rice on Saturday.
And was the best he had looked up until that point. Was very sharp for Braden Sharp against Rice. It's over the top from a lefty, but it's got some lean to it and a sharp breaking ball to go along with it.
And no hits allowed so far through 3 outings, no runs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Here's the 2-2. That just misses. Full count to start. Jason Jellick will start out. The catcher, 8-9-1 for Xavier, who now faces their biggest deficit, 10 runs. That 3-2 is in there. Strikeout called for out number 1.
Allegedly. That was off the plate, but Braden Sharp will take it. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Now batting number 16, Eddie Peters.
Pitcher's call there for the redshirt freshman, and Jellick is retired for the first time tonight. He was 1 for 1, earned a walk as well. Now the 9-hole hitter, Eddie Peters. Peters is 0 for 2. Musketeers got an early lead in this game. It was a solo home run from Isaac Waxman, his 3rd on the season. They carried that lead until the bottom of the 4th.
There's that breaking ball from Sharp. Throws it from the exact same arm slot as the fastball, but it tumbles out of there. Has a ton of vertical movement on it coming from that high arm slot.
0-2. And that breaking ball misses.
The old makeup call. Former Tennessee catcher Connor Pavoloni, who's with the Orioles, huge fan of the ABS. And
Okay.
I think Jellick certainly would have used Xavier's challenge if they would have had one on that last at bat.
You feel like the ABS is going to become a catcher's best friend.
Yeah, I think you'd much rather have a catcher making that decision rather than a pitcher, because the pitcher's going to get emotional. He wants that call, but the catcher's right there on the plate.
That 2-2 is swung on and missed. Peebles will throw down to first. 2 punch-outs now for Braden Sharp.
One on the heater, one on the breaking ball. Sharp picks right back up where he left off on Saturday. You can see that thing comes out of his hand and is basically letter high for about 30, 35 feet, and then starts tumbling, and by the time it gets to the plate, it's on the ground. And then he pumps 89 right by you afterward. I almost said dirt. There's no dirt out there.
It's hard because you feel like, pitch in the dirt, just pitch in the turf doesn't sound right.
No, you got to say dirt.
Yeah, it's still dirt. 0-1 from Lambden, the leadoff man, out to left field. That's going to drop in right into the gap off the wall. Abernathy now playing left field for Tennessee. Will fire it in, but it is a 2-out double for the leadoff hitter, Jake Lambden, his first on the night.
First extra base hit on the year for Lambden. This ball was smoked. That breaking ball stays up a little bit for Sharp, and Lambden able to catch it out front. All 3 of their extra base hits tonight that I can remember have been on breaking balls. I know the homer and the double by Hendrickson were.
Xavier has 4 hits. All 4 of them have been extra bases.
The Jellick double was a fastball right after the homer.
Yep, no singles tonight for the Musketeers. That's a big cut from Hendrickson, 1-1. Hendrickson had a double in his last at-bat that led off the 6th inning when Xavier had bases loaded with no outs and could not capitalize. You're going to look back at that 6th inning, such a turning point for Xavier. That's a throw down to second, trying to catch Lambden napping. But you got bases loaded, you leave them loaded, and then 7 runs, home half the inning.
That's how quick it can happen, and you never really know when it's going to be the turning point in the game, but a huge swing of momentum by the Tennessee defense, Tegan Coons specifically, turns into a crooked number on offense, and that's complimentary football, as they would say.
Almost a 10-run swing is what it felt like. And it's given Tennessee a comfortable advantage. And now another Xavier hitter is hit. As Hendrickson takes a fastball there from Sharp.
Just pulled that one. Looked like he was going in, which he's done really well. Getting it to the glove side against lefties and against righties. And yeah, Peebles is set up on the inner half. That one just overcooked.
Strikeouts first 2 batters faced, but now he's getting the top of this order, and now 2 on. Connor Mish, 0 for 1, but he's been on base twice. He was hit by a pitch last inning. So now 2, 3, 4 in the lineup have been hit. Out inside for ball 2. And now infield in.
Yeah, Peebles is going to go out there and talk to him. Nobody's playing catch in the Tennessee bullpen yet, but start to see some movement a little bit. Similar to Coons, very talented young freshman in Sharp. You see the really good, and you can see the inconsistencies, but they'll see if they can settle him down and get him back in the zone.
Worth mentioning it where we stand. It's a 10-run game here in the 7th. There is no run rule in effect here tonight. We're playing a full 9. So in a run rule scenario like last night, this would be 1 out needed. Tennessee and Xavier going the distance. At 2-0, misses, ball 3. Either way, Tennessee needing just 7 outs here. Xavier couldn't capitalize last inning. Trying to now with 2 on and 2 outs.
The 3-0 automatic strike. It's got to be like 70-75% strike on 3-0.
And 3-1 misses, ball 4. So bases loaded again for a second straight inning. Sharp running into some trouble with the top 3 in this Xavier order. And now Landon Mensick, who is 0 for 2, will need a base hit and or a free pass to give Xavier their first run since the 2nd.
How about that? You go hit by pitch and walk, and then you drop in a breaking ball for a strike.
And now you're out in front. 0-2. We've just seen some quick changes from this pitching staff in an instance.
We have. That's the fastball glove side, and he locates it perfectly there.
0-2 from Sharp. Did he go around? Did not. Look down at Rusty Griffin. He's good.
Home crowd wanted it.
Looked like he was good.
Oh, he definitely did not swing. But the home crowd still has to want it. Yeah, they have to want it.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
If it's close, I'll start booing with him.
Pitch home. That time Minsick definitely went around. That's strike 3. So for a second straight inning, Tennessee able to strand the bases loaded. 10-run advantages across the nation. The Musketeers will be off to Vanderbilt for a 3-game series starting on Friday. And St. Bonaventure, who's playing Vanderbilt tonight in Knoxville starting Friday. Jay Abernathy, his first AB, a ground out. Kick off the bottom of the 7th.
Hit hard, but right at the second baseman there. Lambden. Wiley back out for his second inning of work, or second frame being out there, not second full inning. Came in last inning and recorded the third out.
Here's Antigua. First pitch fouls it away. Vanderbilt's leading St. Bonaventure 7-1 in the 6th. Really the first back-to-back midweek week across the SEC. Teams playing Tuesday and Wednesday. We've seen it a bit. Tennessee first time taking part. Saw a couple of SEC teams fall yesterday. Florida went down. Texas A&M went down. It's been tough going for preseason number 1 in A&M.
Yeah, if you're Florida, that's just kind of par for the course. They're never the greatest in midweeks, and a lot of those Florida schools that they play are more than solid, as Antigua trouble.
And wind has been a difference maker late in the ball game, more so than early in the ball game, but still out is made. Would have been a routine fly out that almost came back in the infield.
Yeah, that's the second one that Antigua's popped up. The first one, or the one his last at bat, was able to squeak over the shortstop. That one hangs up long enough for right fielder Minsick to come make the play. But Florida, it kind of is what it is. You're coming off the big weekend against Miami, probably trying to get some young guys some opportunities. They've been known to drop a few midweeks and still find their way to Omaha at the end of the thing. For A&M, a lot of concern because you haven't played well. Midweeks oftentimes can be an opportunity to get some things ironed out, maybe feel a little bit better. And I believe it was UTSA who's been phenomenal. They've been really good to start the year. Comes in there and kind of sticks it to you a little bit. And A&M's got plenty of talent to turn it around, so this could all be a laughing point for them later in the year, but certainly not the start that they were looking for.
Yeah, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games, and then they've lost their last 2 midweek games. UTSA last night as Josh Elander gets hit. It's all good, just took one right near the ankles from Blake Grimmer. Stinger.
Grimmer, who enters the game, provided last night's walk-off home run.
Yeah.
Grand slam.
A walk-off grand slam. Doesn't matter if it's for the run rule or not. That's always fun.
Technically a walk-off.
Yep.
The game was over.
The final of 3 grand slams yesterday, and now he's earned a spot to hit again today, and he hits it hard. Over to second, a slide from Lambden, but he's got no one at first to throw it to. That's going to get all the way close to the dugout for Xavier. Grimmer's going to hold up at first.
Be interested to see how they score this. I don't know if they had him anyways. Wiley does a good job of getting off the mound, but Lambden was so deep in the hole, and that angle, I think Grimmer was there either way. Looks like they have ruled it a hit.
Yeah, back-to-back nights with hits for Blake Grimmer. Now 11 hits for Tennessee on the night. Grimmer was hitting in the place of Dean Curley. It is not Gavin Keelan batting as Tony Vitello is unloading the dugout. It's Hunter High who's in the swing. No balls and 2 strikes for High. Fouled away. All that to say about A&M is they're in the 4th. They're tied with Texas Southern, 2-2. And maybe a little pressure down in College Station trying to get a midweek win tonight. 0-2, High goes down swinging, inning over. Tennessee held scoreless for the first time since the 3rd. 8th inning in Knoxville. Tennessee, they poured on 7 runs in the 6th inning, and it really opened up this game. Offense has been again as advertised for Tennessee, despite some heavy winds and cold temperatures as we're dropping into the 30s here on this March day.
Shoo!
Pretty tough after coming back from South Texas down in Houston. Xavier was just out in California playing Stanford, so very different weather tonight.
It was mid-60s at the start of the game last night. Don't like the weather in East Tennessee, just hang around. It'll change.
It will change by the day.
Luke Payne enters the game. 3rd appearance on the year. Sophomore from Gallatin. Good-looking lefty. 6'4". He's going to be low 90s with the heater. He goes 90 on the inner half right there for strike 2. Threw an inning against Hofstra in North Alabama. Didn't allow a hit in either one. Had 1 walk in each of them.
That one lifted into left field, right on a line, and then right into the mitt of Hunter High, who now plays in left field. All kinds of changes defensively for Tennessee. High's in left. Colby Backus is out in center field. Abernathy plays second. Blake Grimmer's at first. Newstrom into the game at 3rd, and then Antigua still at shortstop, Reese Chapman in right. Luke Hammond back in. 1 up, 1 down for Payne. Another Tennessee native. Again, Tony Vitello has done such a good job, obviously, recruiting the state of Tennessee, but it goes to show you, even with how good Tennessee has become nationally and how well they can now recruit nationally, that there's still Tennessee talent who contribute on this team.
Absolutely. Tennessee is a talent-rich state. There's ball players all over the place, and you think about the Knoxville metro area, Nashville, Upper East Tennessee, Johnson City, over in Memphis, and then all the small towns across the state. Baseball is important here, and you're a stone's throw away from Atlanta, where all the competitive travel baseball seems to go on. So a lot of talent in this state.
I feel like especially here, in the Knoxville area with the impact that this program now has in East Tennessee, you're probably going to see just more of a growth for maybe kids who are watching these Tennessee teams win a national championship. Just leaves a greater impression.
Yeah, might help them enjoy the game and stick with it, where at a young age Payne just misses up there. At a young age, you might change your mind with the wind and decide, yeah, I'd just rather play something else. But if you got a Tennessee team you enjoy cheering for, it might make you play a little bit longer, and then you never know. You end up that being your best sport.
One quick out and then a walk from Luke Payne. Hayden Christensen will stand in. 3 hits and 11 at-bats this season. He will fulfill some catching duties for Xavier. Now bat with 1 on and 1 down. Xavier down to 5 outs in this one. Christensen, right field way, bit of trouble if it's fair, and it bounces on the right side of the line.
Wind almost pulled that one back in fair play. Would have been a mess for Tennessee. Ball wasn't hit very hard, but kind of over there in the Bermuda Triangle, and with Hunter High over at first base having to hold the runner, he had no chance to run back there and get it. Or Grimmer, excuse me.
And the wind has certainly been a factor, especially later in this game. As you see, it's still blowing heavy from right to left. Now Christensen, this one playable. High in the air, Antigua having to move to his right. He's got it for out number 2.
Now batting number 25, Tyler Stack.
Both these teams, they have another non-conference week ahead in just 2 days' time. It's kind of the difference, as you've already alluded to, just from that Wednesday to Tuesday, you've got to start thinking about Friday night.
You do, because you only get 1 day's rest versus the 2. So if you're thinking about using a leverage arm on the Wednesday game, it may not be available on the shorter turnaround for Friday. So something to keep in mind. But shouldn't be any issue if you've got a guy who's likely to throw later in the weekend. Able to line it up, especially now that we're 3+ weeks into the season. Guys are built up a little bit more. And
the pitch will skip away as runner will advance to second. Tyler Stack getting his first at-bat. Here with 2 outs in the 8th.
It's gotten eerily quiet in Lindsey Nelson. The temperatures are dropping, and
few brave fans remain.
A lot of folks figured they'd finish this one out on the radio or with us, and
but 2 pretty good midweek crowds back to back. You were at Radford last night doing that game, and lively crowd.
It was. And this place is going to look unbelievable when Florida shows up next Friday.
Yeah, that's also part of it. Tennessee's going to settle back into home. They were at home first 2 weeks, and they go to Houston, and now they're going to get to host opening weekend in conference play at Lindsey Nelson Stadium with Florida coming to town. Tyler Stack, right center gap. Over to make the play is Chapman. That's out number 3. So Tennessee, one more chance for insurance as we move to the bottom of the 8th. Jack DTN, right-hander, another freshman. And if one, positive, if you're Xavier, you take away, you got some young guys, vital experience in an environment, maybe cold environment tonight, but against a really good lineup in Tennessee.
Yeah, good competition. And for DTN right here, #1 player out of Wisconsin, coming out of high school. So a big-time recruit for Xavier. They're high on him, and numbers are a bit inflated, but they've thrown him into the fire for sure. His first three college opponents. How about Oregon State, Stanford, and now Tennessee? So shows you what they think of the young man to, kind of let him learn by fire, if you will.
Again, Xavier, they don't start Big East play until the end of March. Tennessee, they're going to start not this weekend, but next weekend. Big East, you got to give 2 more weeks after when SEC play starts. Xavier will host UConn, which is the biggest series if you look at the preseason poll. That's 1 and 2 facing off the very first week of Big East play. So talk about having to be on your A game right away.
Yeah, absolutely. The conference could come down to that series, which is kind of ironic considering it's the first one of the year, but we'll see how it plays out. Colby Backus getting his first at bat.
Chopper to third, a bobble, and Backus is safe. Might have beaten out the throw anyways. He was hustling down the line.
Yeah, as big as he is, he runs really well. And I think once Hammond made the first bobble, he was kind of out of luck, but definitely when the ball hits the turf, he's got no shot.
Now Chris Newstrom will get an at-bat. He checked in defensively. Now a chance to hit, no one out, one on here in the 8th. Xavier has the advantage postseason-wise. They're going to be hosting the Big East tournament at their home. Newstrom wastes no time. He gets a base hit. As it's into left field, 1 AB and 1 hit for the freshman Newstrom.
Yeah, Newstrom, who started last night's game. Had a hit in his first at-bat last night. Gets a hit in his first at-bat tonight.
Well, Tennessee really unloading the dugout here. Levi Clark, his night will be done. He had a crisp 3-for-3 line. 3 RBIs, a productive night. And now Stone Lawless will get to hit. Stone Lawless expects to be a big part of the catching rotation for Tennessee.
Certainly. Catching option, DH option. Can play some first. Big-time power right-handed bat.
Backus was almost caught between second and third. Throw down to second, took a ricochet off his own cleat. And now both runners advance.
Come to the ballpark. See something new every day. I've never seen a guy kind of be caught in between there, and then the ball skip and come up and hit him in the leg. He literally healed it, a Maradona soccer move, and end up taking the next base. That was something. But these Tennessee hitters, they're not going to give anything away. They could not care less what the score is. These guys are fighting for opportunities, and it is really hard to crack this lineup right now. So even for a guy like Stone Lawless, who's in there not every day, but he's been in there a lot, he knows how important this at-bat is.
Yep. A guy like Backus, that's why you're going to see him running aggressively, as he just did. Lawless has been productive, 7 hits and 19 at-bats, 8 RBIs.
And same on the other side for DTN. You came into Xavier as probably one of their higher rated recruits out of the entire class.
Lawless, line drive, left field. It's a base hit. Backus is going to score. Hard turnaround third. Newstrom is in. 2 RBI single for Stone Lawless.
Good piece of hitting to stay through it just long enough. The breaking ball, he does kind of get it off the cap, but barrels in the zone for a really long time there and able to dump it into left field for 2 ribs. And for DTN, not good, but back to the point of You want to be an instant contributor at Xavier, a team you know is going to be playing meaningful games late into the season, and there's a lot to gain out of this outing, even with the score being what it is.
Reese Chapman still in the game. He is 1 for 4, had a 3-run homer back in the 6th. One of Tennessee's 2 home runs in what has been one of the more windier days at the ballpark. Typically see that in these early month games, these March games. Get some windy outings here right along the river.
You do, and when summer comes around and it heats up, I'm thinking about some of those regional and super regionals played the last few years in this park, and it is a hitter's environment.
Yeah. Speaking from experience.
Pretty still, and turf gets hot, ball starts flying.
Now batting number 5.
Reese Chapman goes down looking. Cannon Peebles back in. He also started this game with Chapman. He's been in the catcher spot, and he's looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 3. An 0-2 start. DTN, good bounce back. He let the first 3 he faced get aboard, and then the RBI, 2 RBI single from Lawless. Deep breath, and now you got 1 out with the strikeout. Other midweek scores of note: Mississippi State gets a top 20 win over Southern Miss at Starkville, 18-3.
Wow.
Win in 7. And some of those Mississippi battles are always fun. Southern Miss, dangerous team.
When Troy came in last week, Troy being from
yeah.
Alabama, beat Mississippi State.
Yep.
And Southern Miss coming off a series win at TCU.
Yep. I think they'll be just fine.
A really big win. Maybe a little bit of a letdown spot for the Golden Eagles. There's another mascot in the correct column
there we go.
for me. The Troy Trojans.
Okay, 3 for 4 now. That is a bouncer. Flip to second. They'll get 1. The lead runner's out for the second of the inning. Yeah, how about the Sun Belt? They've got 3 teams in the top 25 right now.
Sun Belt is and has been a very good baseball conference. You think about Coastal Carolina has a national championship and have been good and competitive ever since. And even before then, teams like Southern Miss and JMU's been good, and Troy is ranked. There's
SEC,
a lot of good baseball in the Sun Belt.
SEC obviously still dominating the polls. They've got the top 3 teams in the nation. 5 in the top 10. Then just go add another 7 in the top 25 for fun. It's going to be another very competitive year in the SEC. You think about it, only gets more competitive when you add Texas, Oklahoma, both teams in the top 15.
There's nowhere to hide in the SEC, that's for sure. And with the going away with divisions, you're going to have some unbalanced schedules. So it'll be interesting to see kind of who avoids who and how the records kind of shake out because of that.
Three-one count for Abernathy, not walking yet.
Tennessee doesn't play either of those 2 newcomers this year, Texas or Oklahoma.
Tennessee got Texas at Oklahoma a couple of times in the non-conference over the last few years, but I think it maybe get a chance this debut season to go to one or maybe host the other. No, maybe in the SEC tournament. And who knows, maybe in the postseason as well, past the SEC tournament. Tennessee certainly played their fair share of conference opponents in the postseason. Of course, Texas A&M comes to Knoxville this season. That'll be a rematch of the College World Series final last year. That is the first weekend of April, third weekend of SEC play.
That one will be fun. I think the weirdest part about the schedule to me is no Georgia. Of the East.
And those are two very different teams this year. A Georgia team who's top 5 right now. Missouri projected near the bottom of the conference.
Yeah, Missouri has struggled, but Georgia very competitive.
Tennessee will be at South Carolina on the road second weekend of play. And you go to Oxford, Mississippi. Always a tough road environment.
It is. And Ole Miss probably better than expected so far. I think they've bolstered their lineup and pitching staff and played some good competition in the non-conference slate and seem to be more what we're used to from that program. And Alabama continues making strides under Rob Vaughn. All he's done since getting there is take what was a horrible situation, and there was talent there already, but I think could have spiraled pretty quickly with what happened, and he didn't have any intentions of letting that happen.
That is out number 3. We wrap top of the 9th here in Knoxville. Tennessee leads by 12 runs in this midweek clash between Vols and Musketeers. Braden Krenzel is on. Freshman will kick off the 9th. First pitch swinging. Donovan Canterbury, his first AB, will put it past Blake Grimmer at first.
Yeah, Krenzel, son of former Ohio State quarterback Craig Krenzel, which I'm sure will be stated a million times by the end of the season, has been a really, really good bright spot in terms of the freshman class of arms. He's been really good. Pitched against Rice on Saturday, struck out 2 in the 9th in a clean inning against the Owls. 4 for 5 now.
There we go.
And, gets an opportunity here. It's going to be 90, 92, probably on a warmer day. Might see a 3. But the Ohio native from Dublin, Ohio, getting to try to close this one out.
The Krenzel family, I'm sure, well known, if not maybe by some of these Xavier guys, at least some of the Xavier guys' parents.
Oh, for sure, and how the travel circuit is nowadays. I mean,
know each other pretty well in general, playing growing up.
If not personally, at least a familiarity of the name. And
yeah. Krenzel trying to close this one out. 2 aboard, no outs.
Had to be a pretty good last 10 to 12 months for their family, seeing Tennessee win the national championship, knowing your son is about to enroll there.
Yeah.
And be a part of that program. And then Pops, his alma mater, wins the football natty a couple months later.
Conflicting interests with that first-round matchup.
Yeah, no doubt, but
maybe not as much for Pops.
I think
strike 3 there for Krenzel.
I think they can bleed orange in the spring and probably red in the fall. And
Sure.
I think if you play QB there, you get a pass.
Yeah. Or Tony
Yeah, be
Vitale will
interesting
take
to
it.
see. Be interesting to see what if they were to meet again. Which I mean, I don't foresee either football program not being in the playoffs like every year. I mean, there'll be years where one or two or neither of them make it, but I'm sure they'll meet again at some point. It'd be interesting to see which one Braden decides his allegiances to. That's one of those ones where you probably just watch it, enjoy it, and then whoever wins at the end,
It's a win-win, right?
yeah, or a lose-lose.
Whichever way you look at it. Rain has started to fall now. As that ball is on the ground, that's going to get into right field. Xavier looking to
They're
get
rolling.
a run back, throw in
On the
from
money.
right, got him. Reese Chapman with the cannon.
You can't throw it any better from right field. You can't. Long hop makes it easy for Cannon to receive the cannon from Chapman. Bounces just outside of the dirt. Kind of halfway from the mound, and a nice easy reception for Peebles, and he's out.
I was hoping you'd bring up the cannon to cannon. Well done.
I was trying to figure out how to make that work without completely falling down over the words.
Well done. 1 out needed now for Tennessee. They're looking to jump to 13-0. Tennessee gets it done.